Justin, the mid-year season has just ended. Give us some feedback. How did it go?
We're still waiting some of our statistics from our what we call a snapshot survey, where we send out questionnaires to our members to get some idea of occupancies, their sentiments, whether they thought the season was better or worse. My gut feeling is that I think, given the very harsh economic climates that we live in, the season probably was a little bit quieter than perhaps many would have expected. But as you know, this is a big problem throughout South Africa and the tourism throughout the country. If you look, for example, at this visa issue, for example, the influx of foreign tourists has been very, very severely hampered. But people often don't think that if somebody's expecting people to come out to South Africa to visit family and friends, and they're having visa issues, they often cancel their trip, and sometimes people from here then have to go overseas. In going overseas, as you know, the dollar and the pound and the euro and etc., the exchange rate being what it is, it becomes a hugely expensive holiday for people to go to see family there, which means they come back home and they probably don't have the resources to even have a local holiday. So people are having shorter holidays and less holidays. And for that reason, perhaps at the end of the year, for example, when people have their end-of-year bonuses and things like that, they'll have more disposable income. So we don't anticipate too much of an impact in the December holidays. But I feel that maybe the last mid-year season, the Sardine Festival time, perhaps was a little bit quieter. There were certainly pockets of high activity up and down the coast, but there have been reports verbally, of course, that things were perhaps a little quieter, and we've just got to respect that. And we as an organisation are not going to trim back on our marketing. We're going to keep on, in fact, spending probably more than we have ever before to ensure that we keep people's interest in the South Coast. And in fact, next weekend we're going off to the Getaway Show up in Johannesburg to promote the South Coast again. Some of the highlights, well, certainly the Sardine Festival program was very full. There were lots of beach activations. And one of the ones that impressed me, in fact, was the South Coast Lions Show. Many people have said in the past, it was dying. Well, this last July, they certainly pulled out all the stops. They got just under 10,000 people through the gates. They had an amazingly busy program with lots of diversity and lots of stall holders. And the feedback that we've got, that they've raised a massive amount of money for the charities and the destitute people in the area, which is wonderful. And we'll always look at supporting events like that because the money recirculates back into our communities.
But Justin, one must look at reality. A lot of the businesses have also reported to us that it's, financially and economically, the season was not as good as it should be. Now, given the reality of what is happening in the wider world, that also impacts on us here. I mean, shouldn't we be worried? I mean, somewhere along the line, things are going to get worse.
Well, that's the nature of recessionary times. And the consumer, all you find that within the consumer is that they become more selective. They are very cost conscious, and certainly we have a major selling point from the South Coast point of view because we're not an overly priced destination, and that adds to more appeal. So yes, the cake becomes very, very small, and what we are in fact doing, which is I think not being done perhaps in other parts of the province to the extent that we're doing it, is that we're looking at broadening our markets. We know that there's a very, very significant emergence of the middle class income earners, and from different communities, and hence our programs to develop more of that type of market. And for that reason, we're looking at perhaps towards the end of the year having more of the youth market coming through with responsible, obviously, programs put together. And certainly that's why we go to the Rand Easter Show every year for 10 years to broaden that market. So yes, our traditional markets have become very, very small because of economic reasons, but also because their demographies, a lot of people have been emigrated to other countries, and so that particular traditional market is very small, and we've got to try and sustain it as best we can. We are fortunate that we have a very high incidence of holiday home owners here. So it's not the paying customer who goes into hotels, B&Bs, self-caterings. Yes, they are very, very prominent, but very significantly, it's the second home owners, the holiday home owners that come here, and they'll be our bread and butter for the tourism industry. And that is why, even in these times, I think generally over a year, our tourism can sustain, even though other parts of the country perhaps are showing significant declines.
A lot of the people who come down here for holidays come from Gauteng, Free State, and Mpumalanga, etc., and a lot of them are Afrikaans speaking. So what are you guys doing to attract more of them to come down here?
We attend the Beeld Holiday Show every year, so we promote into that market. We have media campaigns with the Beeld newspaper on the go as we speak. We are, through that youth market development side of things, targeting some of the Afrikaans-speaking universities, which, as you well know, have students from all languages and cultures. If I think of the University of the Free State, for example, it's got a massive market there that we can tap into. With the introduction of our new brochures and stuff, we are going to be going on a roadshow into the hinterland provinces, the Gautengs, etc. And we're also going to Johannesburg, which is predominantly, has a very strong Afrikaans-speaking community. Yes, so we haven't lost sight of that, a very important market. And in fact, we've taken out ads in Afrikaans publications where we've even translated into the Afrikaans language.
Justin, thank you very much.
Thank you.